Ever shown you like what it sounds like?
No.
It's a
Sounds awful.
it's a fun hour.
Yeah.
Say something?
Testing, testing, testing.
Yeah, it's a fun ass hour.
Yeah.
All right. Let's pop in.
Cool.
Oh, and oh wait, I'm like a rookie. I don't even have us on the right screen settings. Let's pin me. Let's pin you. There we go. And change the layout. Cool. Yo, what's up, my peeps? We are back with the Live, Love, Lift podcast. I'm your host here, Marcus McDuffie, and my mic isn't plugged in.
Nice.
All right, round two. Yeah, the first one's always get into it.
Yeah.
Now we're actually live on it. Let me make sure I got it coming out the right one. Speaker. Check, check, check.
Check, check.
Cool. All right. Yo, what's up, everybody? This is the Live, Love, Lift podcast. I'm your host, Marcus McDuffie, joined here by my co-host, Sean. What's up, Sean?
How you doing, man? Good to see you again.
And today, we wanted to talk about dialing in your focus. The summer has come to an end, and everyone is scattering to kind of re-up and say, "Oh my God, my schedule got crazy. I
Yeah.
gained a couple pounds with all the travel that I did, and yeah, I just got to get everything back together." So to make your life a lot easier, and also to save you a lot of time, money, and heartbreak, we are going to dial into the big three things that we've kind of solidified as the things that you need to focus on if you actually want to make progress on your fitness journey. So, Sean, do you want to kind of break those in for our peeps? And we
Yeah, definitely. I
easy.
think it's so. I think it's so easy. We talked about this on a previous episode. Shout out to that. Go back and listen to it if you didn't. But it's so easy to overcomplicate, either like beginning a fitness journey or even when you're getting into a new routine. I think it's we fall into the trap sometimes of thinking that doing everything at once is going to solve the problem. And I think it's what we see with our members is that's oftentimes the opposite of what happens. It just creates more problems. So I have a saying, I always like to say, keep it simple and stupid. Not keep it simple, stupid, because I don't want to call you stupid, but keep it simple and stupid. Easy things, especially when you're changing a routine, going back to school year, coming back from vacation. You want to give yourself grace in those transitional moments. So I think the big three things that I usually talk to about or with clients are, and in this order, in my opinion of importance, are sleep, diet, and exercise. Three simple things. Again, simple, not necessarily always easy, but three things, again, to pay attention to during those transitional times.
Yeah, and I think, because the big thing that we see a lot of times, exactly what you said is, especially a lot of our members that may be newer into the fitness and health space, is there is so much out there and there's so much conflicting, messages that can get thrown around that they try everything and everything and everything, and nothing really gains footing or gains or like really gets built in as a habit. And so people are doing a lot of things,
Yep.
but they're not really getting good at any of them. So the first one,
Yeah.
and it's the one that I struggled with for a while before I really gained or like really started to grasp the importance of it,
Yeah.
is sleep.
Yeah.
The other ones, they're all great, but without the first one, sleep, like my decision making isn't where it needs to be. So some of the decisions on my exercise, on my nutrition aren't really where I want them to be.
Yeah.
I don't have the energy, and also my body isn't, producing the hormones or getting built back and recovered the way it needs to. So for you right now, when it comes to sleep, what are some of the big like one or two focuses that you want
Yeah.
people to kind of key in on?
I think a big one is just trying to find a routine and stay to a routine. I think, again, like to your point, if you were to address one of these three things and see the biggest overall change in your quality of life and willingness to maybe eat better or go and work out, like if this one's going better, then this is kind of the first thing that I usually attack. We had a great, or I remember a great quote that I heard on Monday was like, if you really want to learn about how someone's doing, ask how they're sleeping. And I think definitely for me, top two tips are just trying to establish some semblance of a routine. I know that for a lot of our members who have kids or working long hours at the office, it can be chaotic to figure out when am I going to sleep. But the bigger thing again that we tell clients a lot of times is like it doesn't need to be perfect. Like it doesn't need to be I go to bed at 6 a.m. I wake up blah 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 blah. Like it doesn't need to have that, but just starting to put together a routine of like when I wind down. I like to talk about like reverse engineering your bedtime routine, right? So maybe I don't go to sleep at 8 p.m., but I know every night at 7:30, 8 p.m., my phone goes away. I start reading. And I think to the second point of that, the easiest thing to do to get better sleep quickly and without spending a lot of money on different things that people are trying to sell us now is just having a routine that you do every night to kind of tell your body, hey, it's time for bed.
Yeah.
So I think like those two things in coordination, like having a routine in which you're like, I know that I'm going to go to bed around this time and I know I do these things before I go to bed, right? For me, it's a mobility routine and reading that knocks me out, and I know that I can always lean on that to get myself to bed.
Yeah, and I think that's such a good point, right? Like sleep really does come down to at the biggest level routine, right? Because when we look at circadian rhythm and everything, which is your body's natural wake and sleep cycles, a lot of that is based off of what time I'm going to bed and what time I'm waking up, and making those as much as you can the exact same every single day, right? Where it's like, hey, if you're waking up, don't wake up at 5 days a week and then sleep till 10 for those last 2 days. Like, yeah, it may feel good, but the damage that that does to your body and your circadian rhythm is going to throw off a lot of things that make it harder for you to sleep and for your body to push out the right hormones that it needs throughout the day based off of that. So, yeah, I totally agree with that. I think my big two really are consistent wake and sleep times to the best of your ability. And then I think
Yeah,
as well, like on the front end, having some type of signal to your body. Like for me, it's I put on my blue light blockers and my brain
yeah,
goes, oh, this dude's going to sleep. And then in the morning, it's getting sun 30 minutes after you wake up, right? So
yeah,
routine and routine on there.
yeah,
All right, let's jump into the second one on there. So we'll go into diet, right? And this
yeah,
is the one that can really get the most complicated and go all over the place. Uh,
yeah.
so, what do you think are the biggest ones when it comes to diet in your eyes?
I mean, the easiest one that I use personally, and I also advise clients, is just finding, easy sources of protein to eat through the day. I think, and so that's my first one is if you are eating no protein right now, start eating protein. And if you think you're eating a lot of protein, try to eat a little bit more protein. I mean, that's just kind of the thing, especially if you're busy through the day. We know that protein, aids in, satiety and feeling fuller. So if you're having a hectic day where it's like there's going to be a stretch where I have to do back to school night or I have a presentation, I'm going to be at the office. Think about how setting yourself up for success by eating protein will leave you fuller through those periods. And I think the second part of that is just knowing what you respond well to and knowing the things that are going to make you feel out of control. So it's easy to make a choice when the things are available to you. I think sometimes the things that have helped me the most is just like if I know I don't want to eat, a bunch of sugar, I'll just try to not have sugar around me. And I know that can be tough for our parents because your kids are eating chicken nuggets maybe for dinner, and it's like, well, I need to eat something healthy. So again, I think just setting yourself up to succeed is just planning ahead. That's the biggest thing with nutrition sometimes. It doesn't need to be meal prepping. Everybody always is like, I got to cook 200 meals on Sunday. No, I think what I found that works is like having a pack of deli turkey in the fridge is really helpful. If I come home, I don't have time to cook. I have 4 slices of deli turkey. I feel the satiety and I get my protein in. Just simple little fixes like that just make a world of difference when your stress is telling you to just throw it all to the wind and, eat everything in the cabinet.
Yeah, and I think that goes to all of it, right? Like, because the members we deal with, and the lifestyles, the demographic of our peeps is already so inundated, so busy that
Yeah.
it is much easier many times to go to a fast food thing or to hit Postmates or whatever else. So yeah, I think it's the same thing on my end. Like my big two, once again, is going to start with protein. Like every single meal you have should have at least one fist size worth of protein. Every single meal, no matter what, try to aim for at least 25 to 30 grams of protein. And you can
Yeah.
just go, wow, I had my chicken breast and a cinnamon bun. At least I'm moving in the right direction there.
Right.
I
Yeah.
I do think actually that the second one really is the meal prepping, or better, I'll call it meal planning, because it doesn't have to be this like Sunday 6 hour build out. It's kind of, for a lot of our peeps that found success, is the night before they write down what they're planning to eat tomorrow, and then
Mhm.
it's not a snap decision anymore. It's, hey, I know for breakfast I said I was going to eat 3 eggs and a piece of toast. I know for lunch I said I was going to have like a Cobb salad or something. I know for dinner I said I'm going to have this. And then that way it's the same. Like, the whole thing with meal prep is you don't have to make that decision when you're already tired, you've already had a long day, you've already worked through a lot of things, and your body just doesn't want to do it. So, any of
Right.
those four, but you realize we both said protein. So
Yeah.
get your protein in.
Yeah. So important. And it just, again, just like sleep, like if the protein's off, just make that small adjustment and see if you feel a little bit better.
Yeah.
That's what I always tell people. Just pay a little attention and see if it makes you feel a little less like you're in a pit of despair and, depression.
Yeah. My life, I'm starving. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
For the last one on there, and this is where we also come in a little bit more, but exercise, and I think exercise is one that different forms work for different demographics, different goals. For our members, which are people over 40 that are looking to primarily, for the most part, gain muscle, get stronger, improve bone density, and lose a
Mhm.
little bit of fat, it
Mhm.
really comes down to two things in my eyes. And that's one, strength train for at least 30 minutes 3 times a week.
Mhm.
That one is like, if we're looking at all those things I just said, without that one, your results are always going to be limited. We get these like super cardio people that walk and walk and walk and walk. And it's like, yeah, but your joints are still fragile. You're not making as much progress and your metabolism is bad. And I
Right.
think the other one, which also can't be, not paid attention to by the, oh, I only lift bros, is,
Yeah.
some type of walking. And that's 2 days a week at the minimum. For at least 10 minutes you're doing some type of walking, and that's
Mhm.
kind of more of that. I don't know if you all in the podcast have heard of like the zone 2 cardio, or what really helps your heart health. Those two things in conjunction need to be done if you're actually going to live a long and healthy life, in my eyes.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. And I think that those are obviously my two, just to offer, a counterpoint or some other, perspective on it. I think definitely when routines change and you get stressed out, it's really important to have like a non-negotiable with yourself about movement and exercise. Just like with this is important with sleep and diet. I think sometimes movement can go by the wayside because it's seen as more of an energy expenditure than eating healthier or trying to sleep more. So it's often the thing that goes to the chopping block. It's like, I'm so tired already. Why would I want to move more? And I think, having worked with our population, the thing that's incredible about moving is that it is energizing. And that's the hilarious thing. Like, people will be like, I'm not going to work out. I'm just going to smash a Red Bull. And then they're sitting in their chair shaking with all this pent up energy. And like, why do I feel worse? Right.
Yeah.
So I think the big thing is oftentimes, I think I tell our clients, I call it caveman brain sometimes. Caveman brain's like, me tired, me don't want to move. And if you can just find a way to get over that initial instinct to stay stationary, I think every time I talk to a client, they're like, I did not want to come in this morning. I moved my body in some capacity for an hour. Doesn't mean it was super intense. Doesn't mean I did nothing. And I feel tremendously better than when I came in. And I think the power of that is so important, not only mentally and in building habit, but also just in understanding how physiology works, right? And how you're designed to derive energy from your movement. So, thinking of strategies for that, I think a good one is, sometimes getting over that hump for us. I think what helps a lot is having a community of people that you're held accountable to, because we all have excuses. And I think at the end of the day, sometimes we think our excuses are so much bigger than the other people in our lives. And so having people that are like, nope, I'm going through the same thing and I'm still here, is so important in rationalizing it. So find people you like, find people you love, and all of a sudden showing up becomes a lot easier. And I think the second one to that, to your point too, is just like find movement that works for you. What do you enjoy doing? One of the big things when so many of our members, new members, come to the gym is like, I want to make you fall in love with moving again. Like, it's been ruined for you by XYZ, got thrown in a corner at Barry's boot camp and smacked with a chair. I don't know what they do over there, but like now, like my goal as a coach is to make you fall in love with movement again because it is energizing. It makes you live a longer life and it makes you live a fuller life.
Yeah.
So I would say, just to cap it up, like find people you love to do things with and find things you love to do and just do them.
Hell yeah, my peeps. So to recap on all of it, listen to it again from the start, and I want you all to choose one thing in each one of those three categories that we just gave that is going to be your focus for this next month, right? So one thing in my sleep that's going to get me closer to some of the recommendations you heard here. One thing that gets me closer to the nutrition and diet side that you
Yeah.
heard here, and one thing that brings you closer to the exercise side. If you do those, if you do that one thing in each one of those categories, I guarantee at the end of the month you'll want to shoot me an email and go, Marcus and Sean, oh my God, I can't believe it. And if
Yeah.
you end up trying to do all of it, then you'll feel overwhelmed and probably do nothing. So
Yep.
all right, my peeps. Well, that's it for today's episode. Thanks so much for listening. If you are a current member, we will see your lovely faces in the studio very soon. If you're not and you're like, oh my gosh, I like what they do over there, you can check out our website, iontraining.com, and you can schedule a call with the coach to see if we would be a good fit to work with each other. So I hope you all have a good day, and we'll see you on the next one.
Get some sleep.